Talk to me. Terry Tibbs. Hi everyone, how you doing? This is Adam here, and we are looking at Now That's Local Music 122. Just about a week or two of the official release, so we're in pretty good time this time. This is the 122nd time that I've done one of these videos. Blimey. I actually started the series in the COVID lockdown in 2020, and I've carried on ever since, and I will carry on. Really, I'll keep going. I'll be 80 or 90, and I'll still be doing these probably. Does anyone care what I've got to say? Well, it's not just me, it's you as well. So we start things by saying please do get involved. This is an open forum, chat about music for anyone who wants to get involved. I'm really interested to hear what other people think. We're dealing with the Now That's Like a Music series, which is as commercial and as mainstream as you can get. We know that before we go into it, so that's what we're looking at. And we are asking ourselves which of these songs are going to have real lasting impact on society as a whole, and why. And we're going to be looking back to the past and looking forward to the future, and seeing where these songs all fit into the bigger picture and what they tell us about the world we live in and the times we live in indeed. So, with that in mind, fasten your seatbelts and let's begin our journey then. We start with Olivia Dean, who has made it onto a fair few of these. I don't think she's ever made pole position just yet. I could be wrong. I'm sure you let me know if I am. We certainly had Olivia Rodrigo a lot recently. So here's another Olivia, and it's Olivia Dean, Man I Need. Now, musically, we start off with a similar groove to one that was on Now One, albeit a bit more mellow and slow. And that was Will Power's Kissing with Confidence, that kind of shuffle beat. And so we've got some fairly sedate, understated and gentle music with that kind of gentle swing groove. I must say the singing, although it's a bit nasal and tuneless in places, it's actually gently insistent, and the nice backing vocals really elevate the chorus. And it does actually really get through to you, and it is a catchy song. And she's a very classy lady. And yeah, it's a good start really. So, you know, work on those nasal bits, but then that never did Ella Henderson any harm, did it? Maybe it's just a technique or a sound. But it does sound like they're kind of singing through their nose, a bit like that. So there's Olivia Dean and Man I Need. Am I the man you need, Olivia? Anyway, we follow this one with probably someone the man she does need, Ed Sheeran, I'm sure. Sapphire. So it's another in his kind of round the world travels. He's never really been afraid of bringing world music elements into his stuff. You know, he used to do some Afrobeat stuff a few years ago. He's done a couple of them. And he's obviously done the one last time from Iran. So Sapphire, it's called, basically, it's his Indian music foray, let's say, and it's pretty banger really. I say the melody isn't quite as good as the last one. It's not quite as upbeat and fun, but it's definitely expansive. It's pan-global and universal. It's straight out of India via way of wherever he's from. I still don't really know. Some people say Norwich, some say Hebden Bridge, so you tell me. But that's Ed Sheeran, and you know, it's Ed going Indian, really, so make of that what you will. Now, it's our old friend Lewis Capaldi, and Survive. Now, one thing I'll say about Lewis, very important thing I think, is that he's such a likeable guy in real life, IRL. He's really a wonderfully self-deprecating guy. Obviously, I've never met him, just from what I've seen. But he seems like he's all too flawed. He knows his flaws. He's a very human person, and there's no frills, no hype, no artifice with what you get in terms of how he presents his music. So he's kind of antithesis to, say, someone like Lady Gaga or Ariana Grande. But yeah, he has absolutely massive hits again and again and again. He sells out shows wherever he plays. Now, guess what? It's another gentle ballad here, another piano ballad. You know exactly what kind of arrangement and instrumentation it's going to have before it even starts. What is new is a welcome sense of dynamics in how he sings it. Yes, we do get to that point where you get the full Capaldi pelt, but it takes a while to get there. And he works his way up to that point from a more tender start, and he works his way back down again at the end. So, yeah, nice one, Lewis. Good stuff indeed. Survive. Now, Alex Warren, he's been on several of these now as well, but I struggle to kind of name a single one of his songs. I know that I've kind of liked them more than I've not. Eternity, yeah, it's all right. It's quite a nice ballad. I think it's a bit slower than some of his other stuff. He sounds a bit like a kind of softer, less gruff Rag and Bone Man, or maybe slightly more gruff Sam Smith, who seems to have fallen off the face of the universe since appearing as a stuffed turkey a few years ago. So check your plates for Signs of Sam this Christmas dinner. That's my suggestion. As for Alex, well, yeah, it's a bit less bombastic and stuff than Lewis, a little, and it's got a nice kind of organ backing. So it's all right, yeah, but just not very memorable. That's Eternity. Now, we go straight to my old friend now. I am what is known in the industry as a Chappell stan, Chappell Run. Yeah, I'm not going to go full ham on kind of like trying to meet her or anything. I just think she makes good songs. And The Subway is another one. Is it her version of an underground song, one wonders? In fact, there was the song by Soft Cell called Down in the Subway. There was London Beat, 9 a.m. on the New York subway. So subways have kind of made music every now and then. This is a bit slower from normal for Chappell. It's ever so slightly more down tempo than normal. But I really like it. She consistently comes up with good songs, good chord patterns, and she sings it well. It's a kind of nice voice. And it's got some sort of high notes that poke through, as is her want. Don't know how much of it we're going to get to play, because I kind of want to play the next one as well. Resistance is futile. I did try. I really did try. For a good half dozen releases by Sabrina Carpenter, I was kind of like, meh, overrated, not for me. But the last few songs have been damn good in that kind of now too, mock 80s paradigm that I do like. And this time we step back even further to the 70s with some nouveau disco, replete with live-sounding drums and sumptuous strings. So as I say, I've tried resisting, but it is futile. No red-blooded man is going to be able to resist Sabrina here, singing dreamily about getting wet for a man. But here's the rub, and it's a very clever one. When she talks about getting wet, she's not talking about her wireless access point, her WAP, in the light of Cardi B, or indeed Miss Slocum. No, she's actually talking about getting wet through her tears, the lachrymose variety. So very, very clever, very sexy, but not what you think. Just right, really. Good stuff. That's Sabrina. Should we play a bit? Yeah. There was Chappell and the Subway. Here's a bit of Sabrina and Cheers. Now, I'm definitely not playing the next one. Definitely not. It's Lady Gaga and the Dead Dance. I was just about coming around to Lady Gaga with that Bruno Mars stuff and things, and the Bradley Cooper things. I thought they were alright, and I thought they proved that she could really sing. But God Almighty, and I'm saying that, please, God Almighty, deliver us from this satanic shite. Yet again, it's time to bring out your Bibles and crucifixes as you worship Satan more or less in plain sight. Or have I got that wrong? But that's the groove I get from it, or the vibe I get from it. And I don't think the devil's got all the best tunes. I think the devil overproduces his stuff. And it doesn't have a good melody from Adam, really. So I don't think the devil does have the best music whatsoever. Is it about the devil? I don't know. But the vibe just leaves you feeling a bit sick. It's all about being dead and dancing till you're dead and stuff. And yeah, you've got the plausible deniability. It doesn't mean that. And maybe they're right. Maybe it doesn't. But it certainly gives people the impression, and it knows it does that. And it plays with that. And that in itself is just kind of ridiculous, I think. Unless you're talking about chasing the devil, a la Max Romeo, defeating the devil. I don't think this is. So let me know what you think. I'm interested in the kind of deeper level on stuff like this. The thing is about dancing is that should be a transcendental, and it should be a kind of godly thing. And the whole of the rave movement is built on that. God is a DJ and stuff. So not only is it the antithesis to that sort of Bible stuff, it's the antithesis to the kind of rave ethos as well, which is what I'm all about. What was it George Harrison said in While My Guitar Gently Weeps? I don't know how you were diverted, you were perverted too. And that's what he's talking about, this sort of stuff. Now, someone who seems to have been diverted away from the devil is Justin Bieber. Blimey O'Reilly. We were talking about the spawn of Satan, and here he is, Justin Bieber, seemingly back from the dead in a kind of rather macabre miracle, career-wise at least. But, you know what? This is incredibly different from his other stuff, and even more astounding, it's not half bad. It actually seems quite honest. It's incredibly lo-fi. He's no longer pushing up the daisies, but he is pushing the daisies as a release. It's actually far more human and soulful than 99% of everything I've ever heard by him. It's just got some nice noodling guitar stuff, something you do at home with your mates, and a fairly soft beat. I can relate to it, and I'm actually impressed. And I'd even go as far as maybe even playing it at home, maybe, which must be an absolute first for a Justin Bieber tune. So just as Lady Gaga is going down, 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 Justin Bieber's actually coming up with something pretty good, and I always like to give credit for that. Now, I can't give any credit to Tate McRae, Revolving Door. The dirty version, not on the nail, starts off by going something like, fuck you and your friends. Well, fuck you, Tate. Get off my TV, you fucking bitch. Alright? Now we're quiz. Sky. Oh dear, here comes the obnoxious people. They all get lumped together. I can't even... next. Right, Perry. She's not obnoxious. She's very nice. She's very, very nice. Perry, Perry, Perry. Thank the Lord for the lovely Perry. Well, we all know about Little Mix. When it comes to her solo stuff, the first one on the nails and all that, but her second song, Tears, not this one, the Sabrina Carpenter one, but a different song by Perry, that was really, really good, even though it did absolutely nothing in the charts. It was kind of a flop. I thought it was my favourite song on the whole album, go figure. This one, it's very 80s, very flashy, like Bonnie Tyler holding out for a hero kind of thing, with a distinct kind of country twang to the vocals too, which is quite interesting. It's almost a bit Shania Twain, almost, which is very interesting. Not kind of what you'd expect from Perry, but it's it's not nowhere near as good as Tears. It's solid. There's nothing to hate on. There's a lot to like. Just a bit lacking in the melody. Doja Cat. She's someone else who's also been drinking in the drums, the Kool-Aid of the 80s drum sound. But here we were back in a kind of 1987 kind of paradigm in terms of the drums and synths anyway. So you're talking kind of Whitney or Janet, that kind of thing. But it's nowhere near as funky and nowhere near as melodically good. It's also a classic example of a trope that I've referred to many times before. The totally inappropriate, out-of-place 8 bars of rap that's randomly thrown in the middle of a song that has a totally different vibe and cadence from the rest of the music. So it's not even 1% a hip-hop tune in groove or inflection, nothing to do with hip-hop whatsoever. So transplanting a rap onto it, it's like pouring a spoonful of mustard into your morning joe, it just doesn't suit it. If you're going to do rap or rap-adjacent music. And if you're not, then don't put the rap in. Alright? Okay. So that was Doja Cat. Now, here's Pink Pantheress back again with Illegal. Is this sped up 2-step garage or is it slowed down 2-step D&B? What do you think? Either way, it's got that classic Pink Pantheress production to it. Maybe a bit repetitive in the backing. Essentially, it's just got the same synth stab over and over again. It's not one of the best, but the beat is nice, and I will say that. We'd follow this one up with a real group of people all teaming together. Foremost amongst which is Fred again. But you've also got Skepta, and you've got, let me get this right, Plaque Boy Max. Is that right? Plaque Boy Max? So this is Victory Lap, and it's a bit of a strange beast, really. I don't like the girl's Billy Bong drivel. If it is a girl or a sped up guy, it's just useless. But Skepta does provide an excellent, what I call a proper rap. A proper rap. See above Doja. And his rap does hit the spot. I'm not quite sure what Plaque Boy Max does, but I'm not even really sure what Fred again does. Some kind of beats, I'm assuming. It's a very simple beat. You could come up with this, or I could. If it wasn't for Skepta's contribution, I probably wouldn't give it the time of day. but he's there and he's great, and that's good. And it's good to hear, again, proper rap done properly by a proper rapper. So we follow this one up with Sonny Fodera and Jazzy, and yet again, it's a great collab from these two stalwarts of club, house, dance music, and we'll get a bit of this one on. So there we go, that was Fred again, Skepta and Blackboy Max, Victory Lap. Here is Sonny Fodera and Jazzy, and All This Time. Now, he really is the king of the snare drum roll, Sonny Fodera. His drum rolls go absolutely crazy, and they build up and build up and build up. He's Australian, I believe, so good day, mate. He's really good, and Jazzy's good. I've liked her stuff ever since that Belters Only thing, and her voice is in good form here again. So that's all good. Yeah, it's maybe, hardly an original thing, and it does resemble previous releases that they've both done, but I like them and I like this. Now we have Khalid, not Khaled. I think it was DJ Khaled, wasn't it? Khalid, the guy who was once young, dumb and broke. So now one can only assume he's middle-aged, of medium intellect and moderate wealth. So what have we got here then? All This Time, that was. This is Nobody Make Me Feel by Oscar Med and Khalid. Yeah, this has got something very interesting about it. In the kind of wobbly low end, this sort of percussive sound, and it kind of makes me think a bit of the Lost Frequencies tunes of a few years ago. And it's kind of nice. It's nice. It's quite interesting. Again, I'm not quite sure what Oscar Med and what Khaled does, but Oscar Med, K together they make a good song. So yeah, nice one. Addison Rae. Really not my kind of vocals with that, but it's not all about me, is it? This is for what you guys think. I do like the Vince Clarke kind of Depeche Mode synth noises that kind of drop in and out every now and then. Quite interesting. Some interesting electronics, quite subtle. But the beat is almost non-existent. It's incredibly simplistic. But that doesn't really matter because it's not in your face and it's not obtrusive. So I'm kind of thinking of reasons why not to like it, but I can't. Damn, don't you just hate it when you want to dislike a song, but there's nothing actually wrong with it? You have to kind of admit you quite like it. It is annoying. But credit where credit's due. Now, Cat's Eye. They started off as a middle of a road group. That's an old Chubby Brown joke, which I just ripped off. Cat's Eye. Well, in fact, they're a multinational entertainment conglomerate, and they're based around 6 lovely ladies living in LA. So, as such, the whole presentation of this single video is mired in a kind of corporate world. It's very kind of Hollywood, though not without humour and personality. In some ways, the whole kind of uber corporate setup is so upfront. We can get past that hurdle early and then go off and enjoy the light reggae groove and catchy tune without getting that kind of disappointment where what you initially think is an underground act later proves to be a corporate front. With here, it's the other way round. It's taken as read that this is mega corporate from day one. And then we can just find any enjoyment we can on top of that, knowing what we know. So let's get a bit of it on then. Cat's Eye and Gabriella. I believe it's something to do with Charlie XCX. I think he might have written some of the lyrics. So I've not really delved on the lyrics too much. If you're interested in Charlie XCX's lyrical turn of phrase, then you might want to check these out. She doesn't sing on it, to my knowledge. But the video does, like one of her old videos, feature a lot of kind of yakking and chatting before it actually gets going. So we'll cut to the song. And it is pretty catchy. Yeah, it's kind of pop reggae, R&B reggae, with a kind of good, strong chorus. So corporate, but honestly corporate, and not bad corporate. Now, we've got Conan Gray next, with Vodka Cranberry. Blimey. It's nice and slow and hazy. It is a little syrupy. Now, I was just saying that Cat's Eye started off as a middle-of-the-road band. This is even more middle-of-the-road than Cat's Eye. So it's incredibly kind of milquetoast. The Now season, and I guess therefore by extension the public, do seem to really go for these inoffensive kind of MOR songs. This is the case in point. Now, alright, we're going to end aside with one that I thought I was going to hate, but I really say to you guys over and over again, listen with an open mind to stuff. Even people that you thought you hated and you really disliked their last song, you never know what their next song's going to sound like. Listen with an open mind. And Lola Young, I mean, I saw the name Post-Sex Clarity, and I was just like, oh, blimey. Is this going to be some kind of chick thing about mansplaining and what have you? And what was that, Lily Allen, about, oh, you made me sleep in the wet patch, you know, just some really crass kind of over blatant, over explicit, yet also trying to be little girl innocent, weird vibe. You could get all that, and even looking at it with the sound and the video looks very strange, which is kind of dull. But the song itself is not bad, and ultimately I'm here to judge the songs. I'm here to judge the music. That's what I care about. And it's not bad. I really can't criticise it. Like, I can't even criticise the vocals. In fact, I really like the discordant ending, when everything goes a bit off the boil. That's a great way of ending a side, and it's a good way of ending a song. And especially as our last song was almost like the last song of the worst song ever. And a lot of people don't like her, and I can see that. No offence, you know, she's a kind of love it or hate it figure, and I'm sure she's well aware of that. I'm sure it's marketed to be like that. So, you know, it kind of hit the spot in being so obnoxious last time. But it's kind of hit a different spot if we're talking about post-sex clarity, as it were. Yeah, it's not bad at all, really. So, a very surprising turn up from the books, that. Side one then, I must say, there's only 20 songs. We're kind of going back to the old days when there was only like 40 songs on and out. And I kind of prefer that. I think it's more than enough. I don't think you need the extras. I think there's more than enough good songs on this side. There's been a few that I found a bit obnoxious. But I really like them, most of them. I liked Olivia Dean, the opener, Man I Need. I thought Ed's Sapphire, it's not as good as that Azira, whatever it's called. Aziza. Azira's a coffee. It's okay. Lewis does well with Survive. Chappell does well with Subway. Sabrina does well with Tears. Justin Bieber surprises me with Daisies. There's a few that are a bit meh. Pink Panthers is okay. Sunny Fadira and Jazzy's good. Oscar Mayer's Khalid's pretty good. Cat's Eye's good. And this one's surprisingly good. So it's not a stunning side, but there's actually been very few real bad ones. And a few sort of pleasant surprises, yeah. Let's see what side 2 holds in store. So we move on to second half, second disc. If you still have a CD, does anyone still? And we go to Ray, lovely Ray. First of a couple of songs from her. This is Ray and Where Is My Husband? Well, just like Lola, before her, Ray is someone else who's veered between abysmal and utterly ace. I will say that everything she's ever released has sounded very different, and all the songs bring out different aspects to her voice, her character, and her aesthetic. So overall, she has built up a very rich and varied oeuvre. How does this one add to canon? Well, it's very live sounding, it's full of big clattering drums and a kind of soul feel, got big triumphant horns. It's very, very kind of OTT and very big. It's also very dramatic and very dynamic. There's all sorts going on there, and it's not afraid to kind of really build up and drop back down again. There's more than a little Beyonce about the whole thing as well, lyrically and musically. If there's one criticism, or not criticism, it's more of a piece of advice, as she is looking for a future husband. There's maybe simply too many words, and it's just a bit overwhelming, a bit full on, and it feels like you're being bombarded. So maybe that might scare off any candidates who would otherwise be the future Mr. Ray. So there we go. Where is my husband? Now, I do like it though, and I'm kind of joking. There's more to like than not like about it. Lewis is back. Do you think there's any chance that Lewis might have looked at my old videos? You see, this is why I give critical thinking. It's not being horrible, it's helping. I'm here to help. I used to say things like, a few years ago with Lewis Capaldi videos, Lewis, mate, I love you, but just tone it down a notch, fella. And he seems to have taken my advice on board. And you know what? The results are definitely better for it. This one is much subtler, softer, and more resonant than those shouters of yore. This one being Something in the Heavens. As always, it's literally just piano voice and light strings, with no drums whatsoever. But it wouldn't be Lewis if he didn't do a little bit of shouting. So there's just a few bits in the crescendos. The funny thing is they have that much more impact as a result of not being all the way through it. Now, next up, we have a no return again for Ed Sheeran, who's making up for lost time because he wasn't on the last couple of volumes. No, he was on the one before. He wasn't on the few before that. Normally, he has about 10 songs on each. So he's back for the second time, and I'm sure it's not the first time he's talked about photography and photos and pictures and stuff. He's obviously got a bit of a photographic bent going on. This one is called Camera. It's another slow builder, and it's kind of cut from the same cloth as the previous Lewis Capaldi one, Something in the Heavens. It's a power ballad, really, and to prove it's a power ballad, it has big Phil Collins style crashing drums that come in halfway through. It's probably a bit more bombastic than the Lewis one previously, but it's it's got more of a full band sound and some electronics in there as well. It's got guitars and pianos. So all in all, it's a good one from Ed. It's one of his better moments. Good job, mate. Right, now it's Miles Smith and Stay If You Want to Dance. Miles Smith has certainly taken the happy pills. His music's always got this real kind of upbeat quality to it. Simple but catchy. It's kind of a bit overbearing. It's like a drunk auntie who drags you onto the dance floor at your cousin's wedding, whether you want to dance or not. And it's got that quality. That's Miles Smith and Stay If You Want to Dance. We follow that up with a return for MK featuring Crystal and Dior. Now, it's instructive to listen to Perfume by Sparks immediately after this, which will certainly change your perspective of his entire lyrics. What I would say is get some kind of AI tool. I think vocalremover.org is quite a good one. And see if you can remove the vocals from this and just leave the beats behind, because they're rad. Nice combination of old school breaks and a pumping house floor on the floor. Don't really need the vocals. That's MK and Dior. We're really in club mode now, and we're really on the kind of rave thing with Morgan Seatree and Florence and the Machine. Let's get a bit of this one on, although it's going to be a bit of a jump. So there we go, Ed Sheeran and Camera, and we follow that one with Morgan Seatree and Florence, which might seem like an unlikely pairing. She did do a version of the rave song You Got the Love, but it was an abysmal version, I thought. A lot of people liked it, I didn't. She even called it You've Got the Love, which I thought was a bit precious and twee. So one might be a bit apprehensive about her going kind of bouncy techno or almost hard house, really. I don't know what you quite call it specifically. Either way, it's a real pumping banger of a tune. It really is rocket powered. It's full on, it's uber energetic, it's got organs. Maybe you call it hard bag, if not quite hard house. Yeah, it's great. It really suits her. I don't know, the background of it. If it's, I'm assuming it's just a remix. I don't know if she was sort of involved in it or if it was done, just without her consent, if you like. But she certainly, obviously, approved of it enough to get it on her now. So yeah, there we go. Brilliant track there. Say My Name, Morgan Seatree and Florence and the Machine. Now we're really in club mode now. We follow this one up with Disco Lines and Tinashe, No Broke Boys. It's really campers a row of tents, it really is. But don't let that put you off. If that does put you off, take a look at this one, because it's immaculately produced. And, on paper it might be annoying, but it's not. It really isn't. It's got really good, innovative sounds. It's kind of fast house again. It works. It just works. Sometimes when you don't know why a song works, I always say go back to the beat. How's the beat? Does the beat get you pumping along? And that's probably the case with that one. Disco Lines and Tinashe. Now, another good one. I'll maybe get a bit of this one on. I want to play as many as we can. It is Rossi versus Jazzy, or ex-Jazzy, should I say, and High on Me. So it's the second Jazzy moment on here. It's not Francis Rossi. who last appeared on a Now back in the 90s with Status Quo and the Beach Boys, I believe. Fun, fun, fun. Jazzy is back, and if anything, I prefer this one, I think she's really, really good at those vocals that accompany a slightly darker, kind of spookier house sound than the pure upfront stuff. So again, I have to say, it's another contender for Song of the Album. We follow this one up with Calum and Folded. Now, this is some real slow, slinky, old-fashioned R&B. It's got incredibly clean, precise production. Her voice is nice and the groove is sexy. So it's one of those songs where you don't want me blathering away. Just let it speak for itself. As such, I won't play it on this occasion, but I do recommend it. Kehlani and Folded. Okay, Mark Ronson and Return of Ray again, Suzanne. On paper, this should be brilliant. It seems like the perfect collab. And I really like the idea of Ray as the soul diva. I think, it suits her. And it feels like it's got everything right, this one. It's got a really good band. It seems like a really good live sound. Everything's in the right place for it. But I don't want to be churlish. It's just a bit too slick. It's like it's so slick, but it's kind of lost the soul from it. And the one I'm going to play now, I think has maintained the soul. And although it's not soul music, it's actually feels like it's really coming from the heart and soul. It is a bit of Sam Fender featuring our old friend, yet again, Olivia Dean. So we just had Mark Ronson and Ray. No, we didn't. I was talking about that. We had Rossi and Jazzy. This is Sam Fender and Olivia Dean. Funny, all these collabs, what can make one work, what makes another one not work, what makes one really resonate and feel like two people who really kind of got musical chemistry with each other, and what ones feel just like a kind of, the sort of record company thing put together. This one feels really great, and the fact that it's based, it's based on his original song, which was done live with them both. I don't quite know the chronology, and now the remix features both of them singing. Kind of a bit like the one The Weeknd did with Ariana, Save Your Tears. It's originally just a Weeknd song. And this is like that. It's a really good duet. They work together really well. Absolute contender for Song of the Album. It's really good feel-good music, and it's not overproduced, it's not oversung, it's not overhyped. It's just properly, naturally uplifting. This is great. It's really good. There's a good run now, because we follow this one up with another one I kind of want to play. I kind of want to play a lot of these. So I'll just give you a little snippet. There was Sam Fender and Olivia Dean and Rain Me In. Now we go over to The Last Dinner Party. This is The Killer speaking. I believe this is their second entry on the Now. And it's certainly unorthodox. And it builds and it builds. And it gets bigger and kind of faster as it goes along. It's almost a song of like 3 parts, really. You've got a very kind of slow, kind of mournful verse, which then just gradually builds into a more kind of slightly upbeat, or semi-upbeat kind of bridge. And then ultimately it gets to the real pumping kind of chorus. It sort of reminds you a bit of Sparks, who I mentioned earlier, in the tempo changes and the high-pitched vocals. It's got that weird sort of cabaret feel to it. Also a bit of B-52, is that kind of new wave sound. So it's kind of mired in these sort of alternative new wave American bands. If you like them, it's probably worth checking out. That's The Last Dinner Party, and this is The Killer speaking. Now, it's time for something of a paradigm breaker, or a paradigm shifter, let's say. Do you remember that time when Amy Winehouse made Worst Song and Best Song on the same Now? I think the worst one was Valerie, and the best was Tears Dry on Their Own. Last album, I think I made Lola Young Worst Song on the album. I think she's actually a contender for Best Song with this next song. I'm surprising myself by even saying that. I really am. Because even if you'd said to me last time, oh, Lola Young's going to be Best Song next album, I would have laughed in your face. This song is something else. This is Spiders. Of all the songs on the album, this is the only one, or the one that really most gets through to you emotionally. This is incredible. This is an absolute amazing roller coaster of a tune. I'm genuinely impressed. I'm kind of discombobulated because, you know, I really didn't like the last one. This one, it starts slowly. It's very compelling the way it builds up. When you get these kind of buzzy power chords coming in, it's almost a bit like Radiohead, but it's even more extreme, and you know, it makes Radiohead look light by comparison. And the way that her raw, primal, and vocals is really haunting. And when she kind of erupts into this anger, it's just like, wow. I'm really impressed with this. I'm really blown away by it. And that surprises me as much as it surprises anyone. But that's what it's all about. Listening to these songs with an open mind, taking everything on a song-by-song basis. Now tell me what you guys think as well, because I can imagine this is a controversial shout. Am I definite song on the album? Well, we've got a few more to go through. Let's see if anything outdoes it. But at this point, 34 songs in, yeah, this is really something special. So there we go, Lola Young. Now, I wish I could say the same for Renee Rapp, Leave Me Alone. After this, that one lasted 1 second. I didn't, maybe 2. I didn't need it. I don't want it. This one left me feeling really kind of like in a certain place. And then Renee just shattered that. Ditto Anne-Marie, depressed. I'm not 4 years old, Anne-Marie. I'm not really the demographic for it. And it doesn't transcend. You know, I've always talked about this. Good songs should transcend a demographic. If they come from a certain scene and they're good, they transcend that scene and they become something else. And they're the ones we're looking for. And Lola Young most certainly does that with Spiders. And Anne-Marie certainly doesn't with Depressed, I'm afraid. There we go. Okay, now just a few more to kind of finish things off. Ollie Mears, Save Me. I like him. And please don't take this as a criticism when I say it makes me feel physically sick, because it's supposed to. That's the whole lyrical conceit. It is literally a song about feeling so drunk that you want to throw up, and you probably do. And it really, really captures that drunken, seasick, off balance, everything spinning feeling musically. So I wouldn't say it's exactly a pleasant listen, especially when you're sober. And I can only imagine when you're drunk, it only makes you feel twice as paralytic. If you want to play a prank on someone who's hungover and they're kind of trying to sleep it off, sneak headphones onto them and then play Save Me by Ollie Mears really loud. Although do make sure you have a bucket handy, because you're going to get a psychedelic pizza out of that one, I tell you. Blimey O'Reilly. Okay, now Robbie Williams, Spies. It's very big. It feels like a big anthem, a big kind of stadium thing, and it's all well and good. It's just a bit kind of generic melodically, really. You wouldn't be able to sing it. Go on, sing that one. There's your challenge. Sing Spies. You can't, can you? All right, now just a few to round it off. Bon Jovi. You know, once upon a time, they were seen as a metal band, believe it or not. I know. Incredible. But they were called a metal band, albeit hair metal, I suppose. Their music's more about nice cups of tea than drinking the blood of a vampire bat. This one is red, white, and jersey. And as it sounds, it's just very kind of, mom's apple pie. It's just as saccharine and soft as it's possible to be, while technically a rock song. It's not bad. It's just reliable and unexciting, warming, but totally unintoxicating in the way that Lola one was. Really good stuff, that. Okay, I'll probably play us out with this next one, because I ain't going to play the last two. So I'll play us out with Stereophonics and Colours of October. For them, it's very low-key, and it's very kind of soft. It takes us back to the one they did that was the Office cover thingy, what do you call it, the handbags and the glad rags. It's that kind of mode. The chorus is stupidly simplistic. It's literally, was it, I feel what you feel, I feel what you feel. But maybe that's the point. Maybe that is the point. The complexities, if they're already, come in the middle eight. And the violinist, he's like the guy at the restaurant who wants a tip, and he's playing his violin more and more intrusively, and he's trying to get your attention and trying to steal the show, which he kind of does. There have been a lot of gratuitous violins on this side, you know. And there's more on Jessie J's offering, which is called Believe in Magic. Meh. It's not that magical, really. It's more a bit muggly. It's kind of like a bit like the Ray and the Ronson one. It feels like, an awful lot of money has been thrown at making it classy. They've probably gone to the best studio that money can buy. Got all the best musicians and all the best instruments. Everything's bought and paid for. But, it's maybe a bit not quite as sort of over slick as that one, but it's too slick. And yeah, too many violins. Still, at least there's no violas, so there's that. How do you know if a viola's playing out of tune? The bow is moving. Okay, now one that really, really kind of gives me the ick, even more than the Ollie Murs one, which at least is supposed to, is this Calum and Whitney Houston thing. I call these, and we have had a few before. We had Katie Malua and that thing that was it Amazing Grace? The one that they, yeah, it's I call it a Schrodinger's cat song, where it's someone dead and someone alive. So the song's kind of both dead and alive. There was Natalie and Nat King Cole did it as well. We've had a few. I don't really like him. It's all very clever. In this case, the moment he comes in with his voice twice as loud as Whitney's, I'm just like, oh God, get it off, get it off. Why anyone in a million years would want to hear this caterwauling racket rather than the Divine Original is an absolute mystery. The funny thing is, Calum was alright on his own stuff, and had it been a straight cover, or even just a straight Whitney remix, it might have worked on its own terms. There's been a few like that, where dance songs have been stripped back and turned acoustic-ish. But the two together just does not work. Calum's voice and Whitney's voice don't have any chemistry. They just don't sound good together. So what a weak note to end an otherwise good album on. I will say the unexpected highlight for me was Lola Young's two songs, particularly Spiders. But I really like The Last Dinner Party, and I also really, really like Sam Fender and Olivia Dean. So there was a little run of good songs there. Probably side 2 does have the edge over side 1. Let me know what you think, guys. It's been an interesting volume, actually. Definitely interesting. There's no real overriding theme. More good than bad. Yeah, good stuff. Let me know what you think. I'm always interested to know what everyone thinks. Thank you very much. Take care. And just to say as well, we know with these videos that unlike anything else on YouTube, there's no production values. There's nothing. It's just a guy talking. It always has been and it always will be. I've got other stuff on the go, but I like this format for these. Also, be sure to check out my top 50 songs for each year from 1979, accompanying playlist, so you can really listen to some of these songs. My own personal highlights from each year. So there's a bit of cherry picking going on. And let me know what you think. Also, check out my band, Highway 62. We've got our own page. One day we're going to make it onto a now. We're working on it. All right, that's Highway 62. Rebirth Radio, that's the radio show. Rebirth Classics for the oldies. Check out my friend JJ Lacey. Loads of creative stuff. And let us know what you guys are doing as well. Get involved. Take care, everyone. Bye.